Meme coin hype drives Bitcoin transaction fees to multi-year highs. This is big news. I want to explain why in this video. The weekly candle on Bitcoin looking kind of curious right now. It's a red weekly candle, but look at that upward momentum. Still 2 days, 9 hours left. I want to talk about what's happening there at this trend line that we've been looking at that goes all the way back to October. That's a big deal. I want to track on the screen. And then it's the daily chart. Potential consolidation coming to an end in terms of Bitcoin. Could it be so that the consolidation is coming to an end? Some clues on this Bitcoin daily. And it's really the dynamic around the weekly and the daily. 2 indicators, one on the weekly, one on the daily, that I really want to show you in this video. I think it's a must-see if you're watching the Bitcoin charts, watching Bitcoin price. So please hit the subscribe, hit that like button on the way in, and let's just jump into it. I want to just note something right off the bat. I'm going to cover this real quick, but I think it really is important if you're into Bitcoin, if you're into crypto, and you're watching these markets. This is what's happening right now, and I think it's an incredibly big deal as we go into this next cycle, and I really want to pay attention to it, and let alone just build on it myself. Despite the latest spike in Bitcoin transaction fees, the current Bitcoin transaction cost is still far from all-time highs. So I wanted to say that this isn't Bitcoin costs that we're talking about, transaction costs. This Bitcoin transaction fees that are just at multi-year highs. Why is this? The latest increase in Bitcoin transaction fees is primarily attributed to a surge in Bitcoin activity involving BRC20 tokens, transactions. Yes, this is not ERC20. This is BRC on Bitcoin. Modeled after Ethereum's ERC20 token standard, BRC20 is an experimental token standard, allowing users to issue and transfer fungible tokens on Bitcoin blockchain. It is risky stuff. It's a brand new thing. It's a brand new market, but it just has those vibes, those early stage vibes that we see so often in crypto. And I tweeted the other day, I said, BRC20 market cap is 144 million, and it's 144 million. Over 3 million ordinals, Bitcoin NFTs inscribed. Most are unaware because it seems like most are unaware, not paying attention, or simply not interested, and that's cool. And I just said Web3 is here and you are early, and I really, really think that we are incredibly early to Web3, and on Bitcoin, that is. And so just look at this. Here's an ordinal marketplace. This is Bitcoin NFTs. It's happening, right? I think a lot of the market is aware of that. But then we do have BRC20 tokens. So even since I tweeted that, up to 160 million market cap, and this is what it looks like. This is literally, doesn't this look like kind of like coin market cap? This is BRC. These are tokens on Bitcoin right now. You can see there's Bored Ape Yacht Club. Here's one called Gold. All the way at the top here, we see Meme, and we have Punk over here. So you can just see how early stage this is. And it is experimental. It is risky, but BRC20 tokens are now being bought and sold. Here's unisat.io, probably the go-to in terms of doing this. But this is happening right now in Bitcoin. And for me, I've been tracking Bitcoin for over 5 years. We've been tracking charts, and we're literally about to start tracking this chart. This is so interesting to me. But not only just interesting, it's exciting. This livens up Bitcoin, in my opinion. And it allows for Web3. It allows for, and I know we're only talking about ordinals or, BRC20 tokens, but there's other things it allows to be built in the Bitcoin ecosystem. That, for somebody that has been covering Bitcoin for over 5 years on this YouTube channel, that is exciting. Let's talk about the charts. First thing I just wanted to point out, it's, we see this support here at this trend line, at the very least right now, right? And it's been a question where to draw this trend line from. Is it these candles? Is it this wick up here? But no matter where you put it, if you put it at those first candles, the first swing high, you can see Bitcoin's still really trending at the end of the day at this trend line, even getting some separation on this weekly candle. First things first, going to be interesting to see how the weekly candle closes. Bitcoin 29,300 right now, 2 days, 9 hours left. I mentioned a momentum oscillator, or I mentioned an indicator. It's a momentum oscillator on Bitcoin on the weekly. And then we're going to look at that daily consolidation chart, talk about potentially coming to an end and what the next move looks like. But it was the weekly RSI that kind of caught my attention. It's just to say, while Bitcoin has been, and just look at this, and this isn't an immediate bullish signal, this is one indicator. But while Bitcoin has been trending above this upper trend line, it's this RSI that we see, and let me open the RSI. It's this RSI has a ton of room for an explosive move to the upside. And that's kind of been an ongoing wonder of crypto TA and just people in Bitcoin TA, people invested in Bitcoin. Is there going to be that next leg up for Bitcoin? We're talking $30,000 to $40,000 range. Well, the case is in play based off of this RSI alone. We're really nowhere on the weekly, nowhere near overbought. I mean, it looks like it's near overbought, but what I mean is on a weekly, on a slower moving momentum oscillator, this is a big move, is what I'm saying. That's a big cushion move if Bitcoin is going to finally get into overbought, right? So there's that potential to the upside as Bitcoin is trending above that upper trend line. But all in this area, this is what Bitcoin looks like. This is the move that's happening. And it could go one direction or other. This isn't me sitting here giving you the exact predicted target that Bitcoin's going to, not even saying what I think is going to happen. But if we're looking at this chart, it's clear that there's been kind of this lower high consolidation on, and this is a daily, and a higher low consolidation. So this is kind of giving us this vibe of a symmetrical triangle. And what's notable is we're approaching the apex of that triangle. And though it is not always the case, when we get to this, right in this area, Bitcoin, crypto, this is why we use TA, we can start anticipating a break to the upside or downside. So upside target is, 33,500 to 34,000. Downside target, we're looking at around 24,500 to around 25,000. And I think what's probably important to note on that downside potential move is just the fact that that's right above this higher low area that we've been tracking on Bitcoin. So we take our Fibonacci from the last consolidation swing low all the way back here in March to the current swing high. If Bitcoin is not going to continue this nice move that we've been in and fall, I think this target starts making a lot of sense because it's just above our area of support down here on the more macro, kind of this higher high, higher low, macro trend, fail-safe support. It's a higher low Fibonacci. We use them all the time on the shorter term and longer term charts. That support area is right around $23,800 to around $22,000 or so at the lower end. But interesting to note that this target on this more midterm chart kind of just above that area. So a case for a higher low for Bitcoin, and this is why I like to track it, is just because no matter how you spin it, no matter how we chart it, whether it's just to the target and then consolidation, or if we're falling even below that target, it's kind of like on the macro still such a higher low for Bitcoin as we navigate through just the shift from bear market to bull market. Now, the indicator on the daily chart that I wanted just to point out to you was this. This plays into more the shorter term move for Bitcoin and the potential that we might get a break, right? It's this MACD that we talked about previously. I mentioned that we saw this initial uptick in momentum on the MACD line. We were tracking that. It was getting, I think actually even when I did the video, it was starting to go green above the histogram, and it just completely failed. But right now, over the course of the last 4 or 5 days or so, it failed, but now we're getting another similar move. So it's kind of like a higher low on this MACD, and you can see the MACD line getting ready to cross above the signal line potentially if there's a shorter term move, and this could lead to an explosive move on the shorter term for Bitcoin. And what is the setup for that from a consolidation standpoint? It is kind of this symmetrical triangle that we just looked at. So all in all, again, I'm not sitting here to say which direction it's going to go in, but I think for me on the shorter term, especially as we go into this weekend, especially as we analyze, well, how does this weekly candle close over the next 2 days, 9 hours? I think we can anticipate Bitcoin maybe giving us an answer finally in terms of what direction is next. So that's what I'll be watching in terms of Bitcoin. But all the while, everybody, Bitcoin absolutely doing work in terms of the ecosystem growing. And I can't stress this enough. This is really interesting to me. I'll put a link in the description. We have a project launching very soon called the Bitcoin Collective. Give us a follow. Brand new project. Haven't even tweeted anything really over here. But I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in Web3 on Bitcoin, something we're really excited about. So I appreciate all of you. Please hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.